The fog has lifted, and at last I see the light. And it's like the sky is new, and it's warm and real and bright. And the world has somehow shifted. All at once, everything looks different now that I see you. All those days chasing down a daydream, all those years living in a blur, all that time never truly seeing things the way they were. Now she's here, shining in the starlight. Now she's here, suddenly I know. If she's here, it's crystal clear. I'm where I meant to go. And at last I see the light. And it's like the fog has lifted. And at last I see the light. And it's like the sky is new. And it's warm and real and bright. And the world has somehow shifted. All at once, everything is different now that I see you. Now that I see you.
I believe now we can jump right into the webinar. This webinar will be moderated by one of the PKN STAN students, Miss Maria Regina Felicitas. Miss Maria Regina Felicitas is graduated from Sang Timur Primary School in 2012. In 2015, she graduated from Pangludi Luhur 1 Yogyakarta and Senior School 7 in 2018. And here's Miss Felicitas' organization and experience. She was the liaison officer in Asia Youth in International MUN, Sekretari Muda Peduli Negeri Chapter Tangerang, Strategic Studies Maker Anti-Sexual Harassment, OPB Secretary at STAN Grand Union, member of Event Division, admission of new student, delegates Asia World Model United Nations, delegates ASEAN Youth Gathering, delegates UPN Model United Nations, National Schools Debating Championship, staff of Ministry of Public Relations and Politics Student Executive Board, staff Politics, Law and Philosophy Aliwadana Development Forum, and volunteer Red Cross Youth. Okay, let's get right to the webinar. I'll defer to the moderator on this one, Miss Felicitas.
Okay, thank you Elma and Aga for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? Thank you very much for preparing yourself to join our webinar. The Honorable Director for Macroeconomic Policy, all lecturers, and the honorable participants of this webinar. Good evening. I am Felice, the moderator of today's webinar. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this webinar. In this very special occasion, we're going to talk about the effectiveness of National Economic Recovery Program, known as STAN, compared to other countries. Therefore, the right person has arrived in our midst to discuss this topic. To the committee, please show the resume.
Okay, can we start now?
Wait, sir. Okay. As shown on the screen, our speaker today is Mr. Hidayat Amir, PhD, Director for Macroeconomy Policy. He has received his diploma degree in accounting at Polytechnic of State Finance STAN, bachelor degree in accounting at University of Indonesia, Master of Science degree in regional economics at University of Indonesia, and his Doctor of Philosophy in Economics at University of Queensland, Australia. Mr. Amir has many work experience. Next. Including staff at Taxation Education and Training Center, junior researcher at Center for Financial and Economic Analysis, researcher at Center for Fiscal Risk Management, research coordinator at Center for State Budget Policy, Risk Management Committee, PT Asuransi Jasindo, Information Committee Indonesia, Deposit Insurance Corporation, acting director at Center for State Budget Policy, and last director at Center for Macroeconomic Policy. Next. He teaches various subjects such as economic, accounting, taxation, and research methodology at Polytechnic of State Finance STAN, Indonesia Esa Unggul University, STI Rawamangun, and Trisakti School of Management. Okay, so before the presentation begins, let me inform how the presentation will be going on. First, Mr. Amir will be invited to present the material. If you have any questions during the presentation, just type your questions into the chat box or raise your hand. At the end of speaker sessions, me as a moderator would invite you to activate your microphone so you can ask your questions to the speaker directly, or I will ask it for you. You may try to express any opinion or questions either in English or in Bahasa. Both of them are okay. There will be no right or wrong in here. So this is a safe place to all of us to learn together and also learn something new from our speaker. And after that, there will be a conclusion. Looks like everyone can wait to start the presentation session. Now allow me to welcome the speaker, Mr. Hidayat Amir, PhD, to deliver his presentation. Good evening, Mr. Amir.
Good evening, Mbak Felis.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, very good, actually.
Okay, so shall we start the presentation now?
Yes, okay.
Okay, Mr. Amir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm very glad here to see all of you, the academia from PKN STAN, and the Master of Ceremony also mentioned several others institutions or various institution, school, and wherever you are. Okay, actually I already prepared for the time up to 20 in this evening, but I'm so sorry. I have another meeting at 7:30, so I have to maybe just giving the presentation, and then I also bring Pak Andi Yoga. Sometimes we call it Agoy. He is my expert, my analyst that related with the issue on COVID-19 vaccination progress globally and also in the domestic issues. So Agoy will continue the discussion. I think this is very timely to discuss this thing to you, even though this is not easy for me because during several days we have escalation of the COVID-19, so the uncertainty come back to increase uncertainty and challenge in the fight against COVID-19 keep rising during the last day. But again, we hope we can manage. Indonesia can manage the situation, so then we can protect the people, we can protect the economy for this year and the future. Okay, let's begin with the presentation. Next. I put several topics here. We'll see in the first global context on the pandemic, and then we'll put several theoretical perspective to see, to compare with the factual that we're facing now, and then we will discuss Indonesia COVID-19 situation, the latest situation, and the fiscal response, and also the lesson learned from the pandemic. Next. Next slide, please. When we talk about the economic is the social science. So you will facing several issues on the economic in the social science. If we look at in this graph, our world, our economy, globally or nationally, always facing uncertainties. Even sometimes we're facing the crisis. For example, during the last 15 years, we're already facing several crises. 2009, we're facing the global financial crisis. And then after that, we have a commodity boom, but also in 2012, we have European debt crisis. And then we're facing paper tantrum, Brexit, trade war, and then last year, up to now, we're still facing the crisis to the pandemic. We're facing today's crisis quite different compared to others because today's great crisis not coming from the economic issue itself, but coming from the health problem, the issues in the public health, which is coming from the virus, COVID-19, or coronavirus disease that started in 2019. If you look back on our history, we found that the similar story on the Spanish flu, that at that time experiencing our experience, our history, our world have 2 years experience facing the Spanish flu in 1918 to 1920. This is a century ago, basically our history about the crisis that affected from pandemic, from the virus. And if we learn the history, actually there are compared to this we have no much information like today. Several reference that there are 2/3 of population that infected from the Spanish flu, and then about 100 million people that from the Spanish flu. Now we are facing similar cases from the coronavirus, and now we learn we are fighting with coronavirus to protect ourselves. Basically, not only economic crisis. This is the crisis for humanity. This is crisis on our lifelong history. Okay, so there are so many crises in economy. There are several different type of source of crisis, and we are facing now basically the crisis on economy. This is the impact due to the health issues due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The term of pandemic actually explain the meaning itself, that this is the impact is worldwide, severity is high, and the dynamic is very quickly to affect the human life and the economy. Next slide, please. This is just to show you that we started the COVID-19 in Wuhan in January 20. Actually, we started to hear the COVID-19 issues at that time, still mentioned as coronavirus, because the COVID-19 terminology coming after that. And we see the escalation. This is the daily COVID-19 cases, the daily additional COVID-19 cases. So we can see that the additional increasing very substantially, and then we already got the peak on December 2020 or the beginning of this year, and then declining the additional cases, daily cases. But again, we're facing the second wave, and the peak already there in the April 21st. But after declining, now we are facing another new wave. So we will see the peak at, I don't know, maybe July or August. It depends on the escalation of the cases and so on. So if we look back to the Spanish flu, there are also 3 waves of infection. The highest in the second wave, and then the third quite low. But after that, many experts says that you had immunity already there, so the COVID-19 reduced substantially. Because when we read the reference, I'm looking for the reference for vaccination during the Spanish flu, and some reference mentioned that vaccine invented 6 years after the Spanish flu ended. So we are lucky now. We already have vaccination, and the vaccine first jab already in the November 20. So we expect that the impact of the COVID-19 will be reduced and controlled by several measures, one of other the vaccine. Next slide. This is just to show you the epicenter of the pandemic. Now we are facing the latest, or the epicenter is in Asia. India is the main contributor, and now Indonesia also is part of top 3 of the epicenter globally. Next slide, please. Okay, this when we trying to understand what is the COVID-19 basically. When we aware that virus, the transfer, the infection transfer between interaction people to people. So then, of course, the measure to reduce the interaction, the mobility. So this is in the right side, you can see that this is we call it a stringency index, the level of restriction. Basically, the restrict for mobility, people to making activities. When we see in the graph in January 2020, this is very clear, no social restriction. But in May 2020, due to the COVID-19 escalate very fast and very significant. So then restriction in the social restriction become the strictest globally. You can see it's very dark graph here. And then in June 2021, actually the restriction already less and start to reopening the activities or normalization. People start to make come back make, their activities on social activities, economic activities, and so on. Why we call it why we explain about the activities, because this is that related to the economy, the value of the economy, because people make the an activity. So this is part of the our assessment. We have to see to monitor the people mobility with related to the economic activities or economic value. So this is the first measure to restrict people to make an activity, so then the interaction between people, the people that infected, uh, protect not to transfer the diseases to another people. This is the first measure, and then after that, to know who is infected and who is not infected. The people conducted the testing, swab antigen and so on. So basically, the people need to be tested whether they infected or not. The infected person, we have to treat to isolate them. We call it sometimes isolasi mandiri. You have to stay at home by yourself, and then if there is what health problem, they have to go to the health facility to be treated. So basically testing, and then if we know one person positive infected by COVID, so we have to trace another 20% that make interaction with them to see what basically, if we can isolate the person that infected, so another person that not infected can move, able to make an activity, or the treatment become more targeted only for the person that infected by the COVID-19. This is the measure, and all countries doing this measure. And then the second one, and the third one, this is important to be vaccinated. If people being vaccinated, so then the people have the immunity from the virus, and then the virus not infect to them, and then not also transfer to others people. So vaccination is important. So Indonesia government trying to have a measure to have cooperation with vaccine producer to get as many as possible to make a vaccination faster, because if we delay the vaccination, so we will have opportunity loss in terms of economic, in terms of human life. So part of the this is also like part of the mobility restriction. We have school closure, public transport closure, international travel closure, and so on. This is basically around the world, the measure around the world, because we exchange the data, we exchange the information, what is the COVID-19 and how to make proper measure to protect the people from the COVID-19. Next slide, please. This is the improvement of the vaccination. As I mentioned earlier, vaccination is a game changer for COVID-19 handling. if you read in the media, in the newspaper, or in the reference, now increasing number of new variant. This is basically the mutation of the virus in the body that not vaccinated. So vaccination not only protect people from the fatality, from the infection of COVID-19, but also protect the, the spread of the COVID-19 among people, because when people are already vaccinated, they will protect to transmit it to others people, but also protect to create new variant of the virus. So this is the importance of the vaccine. Indonesia, not the producer of, not yet the producer of the vaccine. So then we trying the best effort to get the various vaccine, because at the beginning the problem of the vaccination is the supply of the vaccine. But now we already secure enough number of vaccine, and government trying to accelerate the vaccination, daily vaccination up to 1.5 million vaccination per day, or even more, to get the target during this year. The vaccination spend minimum 70% of the population already vaccinated. Next slide. Okay, you already maybe already read several reference or reading. Basically, the COVID-19 handling was physical distancing or lockdown. Due to the lockdown, so the government provide economic stimulus to support the poor and vulnerable, because they have to maintain their purchasing power, their consumption, their basic consumption, to keep their livelihood, and also giving the stimulus for the company and so on. The vaccination program, and also promoting adapting new business era. But we see that the capacity of the country on responding on COVID-19 handling different. So we see that mainly the advanced countries now already opening their economy, because they have better access of the vaccination. For example, now UK already about 60% of the population already vaccinated. US already 55% vaccinated, and so on. So and they have also better health facilities. So this is the developing countries type challenge during today on responding to COVID-19. First, limited fiscal space and financial resources. We are lucky in Indonesia. We have a very good shape on the fiscal policy. Have a very healthy and sustainable budget. So this is no problem for Indonesia basically. But for the second one, we have quite large informal labor in the economy, UMKM, and so on. Yes, sometimes the UMKM good during the crisis, because they can absorb the formal sector, the formal labor that relief from formal economy, formal becoming the informal sector. They can absorb the work, but of course this is also we can see in the negative perspective. And then we have demographic challenge with high poverty, unemployment, and so on. And I already mentioned earlier, poor public infrastructure, including health system in Indonesia. Even more when we discuss about the social protection system, or bansos, bantuan sosial, social assistance. We don't have what we call it perfect system like in the advanced countries. We get difficulties to transfer to the poor people due to the data and so on. Even though we already have DTKS, data terpadu kesejahteraan sosial, but again, this is still the issue in Indonesia. And I think low technology also not supported usually in the developing countries. Next slide, please. This is just to show you that Indonesia is quite lucky. The impact to the economic activity is quite moderate. 2020, our economy growth contracted quite light, minus 2.1 during 2020, and we expect 2021 will be recovered to grow to at the level 4% above. We will see the escalation, the recent development of the COVID-19. But you can see here so many countries that facing the construction close to even a double digit in the 2020. Next slide, please. This is typical the fiscal stimulus facing as the response during the COVID-19 handling, basically helping people and businesses. I'm very, I let you know, I'm very thankful that Pak Jokowi quite have a quick response. In March, they already instructed the finance minister to adjust the state budget with only 3 main focus to fight COVID-19, basically to support the health program. And then the second priority, to protect the poor and vulnerable, so they can still manage their consumption in the basic consumption, to keeping their livelihood, because you know Indonesia, there are so many people that working from the informal sector. They have their income when they work. So if the government would measure for mobility restriction, so basically they can work, they can get their income. So to maintain their consumption, the government has to step in with the funds of social assistance, cash assistance. And then the third one, to help businesses. Why the businesses? Yes, because the businesses need to be standstill or hibernate, not to have to avoid the big layoff, and also maybe massive bankruptcy. Because when it happens, this is very hard to restart the economy, to jumpstart the economy. So our assessment already forward-looking to anticipate the worst scenario and preparing the survival kit during the pandemic. This is basically just for the more detail from the 3 priority during 2020. And the latest column, the right-hand column, this is only to show you the comparison among countries for the numbers and so on, type of support for the companies, SMEs, and also several others. Next slide. I think I will skip this one. This is related to the type of the system, social assistance system among countries. Next. This is just the number. Of course, the number depend on the number of mobility, the capacity, and the severity of the problem. And also, you know, this is the fiscal support. Basically, the support source of the support, not only from the fiscal support. Usually in the crisis, we have also monetary support. But during this time, the monetary support is quite limited. Financially, sector support quite limited. So the fiscal support become the main actor to tackle these issues. So you can see here Indonesia is quite big percentage compared to the peers in G20 and ASEAN countries. Next slide. this is the consequences. The consequences giving more support, fiscal support to handling the COVID-19 and mitigating the impact to the economy. The deficit expanding. So usually Indonesia have the limit maximum 3% of deficit in the budget, but due to this is the extraordinary time, need the extraordinary measure, and the only came in town is the support from government budget. So we use the government budget, the deficit to be relaxed, to be more than 3% of GDP. In 2020, we realized with 6.1%, and then of course, as the consequences, why deficit? Because yes, the revenue from the taxation quite limited, decreasing about 15% during last year. Why? Because the economic activity stands still, so the businesses cannot afford to pay taxes. And then in the second one, the government also giving the stimulus, the relaxation for paying tax, and then also we facing the commodity price declining. So this is the third aspect that decrease our revenue during the COVID-19. But in the spending side, we have to go to with three aspects that I mentioned earlier: health support, poor and vulnerable support, and business support. So in terms of spending, we have to increase. In terms of revenue, have to decline. So the consequence deficit will increase. And of course, the public debt also an increase as a result. Next. Next again. Yeah. I have to this is the important of the government, basically to addressing market value, ensuring economic equity and equality. This is the three main function of the government: maintaining economic stability. During the crisis, the priority on the maintaining economic stability, or even during this time, protecting the people, protecting the life. This is the main priority. We can less on the addressing market failure and so on during this crisis. Next slide, please. This is just to give you the illustration, the role of the state budget, the role of the government. This is quite complex in the circular flow of the economy, but basically the economy need the government. They build the government with the social contract and so on. So taxing and everything, basically the government developed to protect the people, to manifest the idea, the vision of in the state, or to achieve the welfare, the purpose, just and prosperous society, as mentioned in our constitution. So during this time, of course, I mentioned earlier, protecting the life is the priority. The state budget has to be managed to protect the people from the COVID-19. Next slide, please. Next, I will stop with the latest slide. Could you give me the slide on three game changer? I think I running out my time. Okay, yes, this one. Okay, now we are entering the mid of the second half of 2021. This is the concept of the framework when we entering the beginning of 2021. Previously, we expect that COVID-19 only have in town in 6 months or 9 months, but actually when we are entering 2021, the COVID-19 is still there. So basically we have to continue the health intervention. and because we already have the vaccine in the world, so we're trying to have free vaccination for 181.5 million. This is basically about 70% of population, because this is based on the research that herd immunity can achieve when 2/3 of the population being vaccinated. And then keep encouraging 3M, 3 part of the health protocol and other health intervention, because now the health facilities even more needed to treat the uh, the people. And then the second one, we have to continue the survival and recovery. Basically, the social protection program, we have to protect the bottom 40 and vulnerable group of the society and so on. And also maintaining the business continuity, as I mentioned earlier. But we put another effort with what we call it as a structural reform. Before the COVID-19, we have an agenda of the reform, because we quite realize that our economy will improve, we are accelerating the growth when we doing the reform, because there are so many obstacles to do businesses in Indonesia, and this is important to to provide the employment opportunities, to empowering the medium small enterprises and so on. So basically improving the ease of doing business. We have not to wait up to the COVID-19 end first, but we do at the same time, because we expect after the COVID-19 we have new foundation of the economy that can grow faster, stronger, to become advanced countries in the future. This is basically the three main game changer during 2021. We now still continue this policy response, even though during the latest days we facing the escalation. Of course, we have to tighten the health protocol with PPKM darurat and so on, and also we have to escalate the social protection that we did during the PPKM darurat, and also fine-tuning the support for the business. So the work still very hard for us, but I have to stop here with the have to say something like this. Keep mindful to yourself during this difficult situation. Please be aware and also keep stronger your connection with your family, your friends, your relative, your group to facing this difficult time. This webinar open with the very beautiful thing. At the end, we see the light. At the end of the tunnel, we see the light. This is, I think, I will stop here. Back to you, Mbak Felice. Thank you.
Okay, let's give a big applause to Mr. Amir. Thank you very much, Mr. Amir, for giving us such informative and interesting presentation. It seems that we have been quite enlightened, but unfortunately, you have to leave this webinar. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry that Mr. Amir had to leave this webinar, but don't worry, because his special staff, Mr. Andi Yoga, will continue the presentations. Mr. Andi Yoga.
Hi, Valis.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening,
everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to speak on behalf of Pak Amir. We are also very sorry that Pak Amir should go because he got to attend a meeting with Madam Minister Ibu Sri Mulyani. Let me a little bit continue the presentation. Let me carry on with some slides, and we go to the Q&A session later on. May I?
Okay, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Um, okay, let me start from here. Sorry. Can you see my slide?
Yep, indeed, sir.
Okay, so this is just portraying the COVID-19 situation at the moment, whereby as of July 19, the 7-day moving average daily cases uh, have reached above 30,000 cases, and unfortunately, the death numbers are also increasing quite significantly, reaching above 700 deaths per day. It's quite sad, and if you see the or follow the news in the social media or on the YouTube or on the TV, you can see sadly that many of our fellow citizens, fellow Indonesians, uh, are died from this COVID-19, and it's quite uh, worrisome going forward to see the trend of the cases. But the government, both all the stakeholders, be it the Minister of Health, the Ministry of State of Enterprise, the Minister of Finance, all the elements are doing their best to curb these cases. You can see here the Java, our main island, the most populous island of Indonesia, are still contributing the biggest share of the case, 75.3%, where the rest, around one quarter, are outside Java. This is the active cases, and the recovered uh, are now, usually before the second wave, we can say the second wave of the COVID is once reached around 90% or close to 90%, and then now declined to 82% of the recovery rate. This one is just showing the transition, actually basically the transition of the policy restriction that we began with PSBB, or large scale restriction, on April, and then we go to the uh, PPKM, yeah, micro scale restriction to the smallest community. We can see here the February or the end of January was the first peak of our cases, and then continues to rise, and the government, and it forced the government to impose the emergency restriction from July 3 to 20, on for Java and Bali, and then started July 12, the next tomorrow, for the several areas outside Java. And this is basically just the measures behind the PPKM emergency, which basically allows still 50% capacity for the essential sectors. For non-essential sectors, still can operate at 100%, and then wedding are still allowed, but with 30 people max. But if I'm not mistaken, the latest development is no wedding reception at all, and then the transportation is allowed to 30% of the capacity, with vaccine certificate, with obligatory vaccine certificate and the PCR and antigen test. This is the vaccination development for the first jab of or the first dose of the vaccination. Indonesia already reached 36 million doses, which around 8, 18 million people, and close to 15 million people has already completed the second dose. I think this quite related with the theme of national economic recovery. During the 2020 last year, uh, the government had to come up with immediate response, whereby we quickly revise the budget law to Perpu number 1 2020, and then the government come with fiscal stimulus, and this year the recovery and the reform policy and to going forward. But actually, unfortunately, on the amid this year, that the second wave came, and then it's changed. It increased the uncertainty of the economic recovery, and at the same time, the government has to consolidate the budget. We have to come back to the deficit at 3% of GDP in 2023, but the government continue to monitor the development of the COVID-19 and will respond with the policy accordingly, in accordance with the escalation of the COVID-19. Let me skip this. This one. The national economic recovery. This is what the theme, the main theme of this webinar is talking about. The 2020, the government allocated 575.9 trillion for the national economic recovery, of which health around 60 trillion, and the biggest chunk went to social protection and also the support for the business and corporation financing. And as the Pak Amir explained before, that it's really important to give the social protection to our poor people and the vulnerables, and also to provide support to the business, especially to the UMKM, or medium, micro, small, medium enterprises, which account for around 60% of Indonesian economy, and it also employs many of Indonesians. So that's why the support for the business and social protection also accounts for the biggest chunk of the budget. And health, again, it's partly because the vaccination, procurement, and also the distribution. So you can see here the health sorry, the health budget increases significantly. It's partly because of the vaccination program, and even the government, to accelerate the recovery and to give a better handle of the pandemic, the government increased the budget to nearly 700 trillion, and it's around 21% of the growth itself. And as you can see here, the gradual recovery happening in Indonesian economy, from being contracted around 5.3% in Q2 to become less contracted in -3.5%, and then to -2 in the last quarter last year. And then we hope that, like Amir said, that we hope that our economy could grow around 4% this year, but around 4% is the last projection before the second wave coming. So the government has to again revise the prediction of the economic growth, but uh, uh, what the government see is the health, the the pandemic handling is the bottom line, and I mean it and not, but at the same time also the recovery, the economic recovery also cannot be put aside. So it has to go hand in hand between health recovery and economic recovery. Uh, this one you you can see one of the impact of the economic recovery program where the unemployment improved from improved by the unemployment improved by 1 million people. So the unemployment increased during the pandemic, which just makes sense. In August 22, around 9.75 billion, but with uh, government's national economic recovery program that provide assistance to the vulnerables, to the business, so the business can be hire people. We can see here in the agricultural sector, and also manufacturing, and the trade sector. The poverty it increased, which is also quite makes sense during this very hard time. But the number of the poor people can increase even more if the government didn't step in and provide some assistance and some cash to the poor and vulnerable people. And this is the budget for 2021. Actually, this is already covered on the previous slides, and yeah, this one, the government plan for 2022. You can see here that um, the state revenue is is projected to be around 10%, 10.8, the range of 10.2 to 10.9% of GDP, which with the government expenditure set at around this range. Actually, it's not just for 22, but also in 2023, well, the government planned to bring the deficit limit come to below 3% as mandated as the budget law, or the state finance law. I'm sorry, and this the budget is expected to the budget deficit is expected to narrow to around a 4.5. A 5.7 this year, and then next year 4.5, and then we expect the budget to be the budget deficit to be narrowed to 2.7 or 2.9 in 2023. This is important. Why? Because it's important for the budget sustainability. We cannot afford to accumulate a high additional of public debt that can be slashed or can be minimized. The government, I mean, the budget has still rooms for the efficiency on the expenditure, and also still has room for the improvement in the revenue side. So that's why the sustainability of the budget is important. The fiscal sustainability is important. That's why the fiscal consolidation is critical and bringing the deficit back to the below 3%. I think because I think I'm running out of time, and I think it's better to have the discussion or the Q&A. I think, and we can go back to the slides again with the Q&A from the floor. I think it's back to you, but Felis, thank you.
Okay, let's give a big applause to Mr. Andi Yoga. Thank you very much, Mr. Andi Yoga, for continue the presentation and giving us such informative presentations. It seems that we have been quite enlightened and many questions arise. So now we come to the questions and answer sessions. Again, if you have any questions, just type your questions into the chat box or raise your hand if you want to activate the microphone. So you can ask your question to Mr. Andi Yoga directly, or I will ask it for you. You may try to express any opinion or questions either in English or in Bahasa. Both of them are okay. This is a safe place to all of us to learn together. Okay, while waiting, if there are more questions from the audience, I will ask some questions to Mr. Andi Yoga first.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Andi Yoga has already mentioned before that Indonesian government provide $10.28 billion for cash assistance and food subsidy. We do absolutely know that this social assistance cash is essential in preventing high poverty. But nowadays, there is a lot of people claim to be entitled to that cash. My question is, how can Indonesian government assure that social assistance is distributed well and right to the targeted community? I mean the bottom 40 and the vulnerable group as mentioned before. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felis. I think it's a great question, and the government has been has been working continuously on improving the targeted subsidy, including the social, the cash transfer and the PKH or program Keluarga Harapan and other social assistance. And data is very crucial here. It plays a very critical role, and this data set is always being I don't want to say perfected, but the government, as I said before, has been working for it, because it's also not easy to perfect the data, Felis and friends, because it's kind of also fragmented. The data spread around the Ministry of Social, the data also in the BPS, and some of them on the local governments, regional governments, or Pemda. And Indonesia is working in several years with the DTKS. It's Data Terpadu Kesejahteraan Sosial. So that's one of the main data set that used for the social assistance. So with this improvement of data over the time, the government expects to minimize the exclusion error and the inclusion error. The exclusion error is the ones are the people that should be helped, should be in the beneficiary target, but instead still outside. And the inclusion error, that the people that's supposed to be not deserving this assistance are still in the data set. You can and I think Felis and other friends here must encounter the news that, like, the people with the good houses, or the people with good vehicles in the kampung or in the desa, in the city, are still the beneficiary in of this bantuan, of this social assistance. And in also at the same time, sadly, some of our fellow Indonesian are still not getting it. So government make sure to continue to improve the data. And as Minister of Social, Ibu Risma reported to the Parliament in the end of this May, I think it's still around 400 of the local government that work or yet work on their data, and I think the other around 200 of the local government are still not working on their data, and even around 300 of the local government that already improved the data already, like it's still like 10% of 20% coverage that they are working on. So it's not an easy target, but the government continues to work on it, Felix. So basically the data is a crucial part here, and the government are continue to work on it. And I must say that it seems easy, but it's really not.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andy Yoga. Again, data play the biggest role. Okay, to shorten the time, I have already had questions here. The first one is coming from Sally. You can also check on your chat box. Okay. And she asked about, as you stated before, that the vaccination project CHAP will be accelerated to 181.5 mile Indonesia to gain the herd immunity by the end of the year 2021. My questions are how high the probability of herd immunity happening by the end of this year, and how are you certain that the mass vaccination happening right now in Polres, Kodam, or Puskesmas cannot make the new wave, because they do 1,000 day with a lot of people waiting. No.
Oh, it's really good question here. It's very also detailed. Thank you, Sally. And actually, I didn't expect that 450 participants are coming here, and it's already broadcasted on YouTube. So if my answer going in the wrong direction, I think I'm really responsible for the for the I think at least for this event for on the government side. But I think it's not an easy job to do, and the government uh, are doing their best. Felix and everyone, I am one of the team member in the COVID-19 team in BKF. So we follow daily, we monitor, we enter the data daily uh, from the COVID-19 development and the vaccination and other issue related to the COVID-19 on global and domestic. But yes, as Bu Menteri Sri Mulyani also explained in the press conference in the early of this month, that the government indeed will increase the target of the daily vaccination to the around 1.5 million doses daily, and hopefully in the fourth quarter is is gonna be reaching around 3 million doses vaccine per day. But it's indeed difficult, and that's why the government invites and collaborate with the Kodam, with the TNI, with the national police, with the Polda, Polres, and also educate or train the student, the medical student perhaps in the third or the fourth year. I mean, the student that haven't graduated yet but still can be employed to to do the jab, to do the inoculation or the vaccination, and also the what you call it, the perawat, yeah, nursery student. The government basically do all the necessary things to hit the target, but again, it's not easy to make sure that we hit the target. If you monitor the daily vaccination numbers in the late in the past 2 weeks, most of the days hits the over the 1 million or around million doses per day, but some of the days it declines back to like 18,000, sorry, 800,000 or even 500,000. So the number still fluctuates, but I do believe that the government will do their best to meet this daily target of the vaccination, because like Pak Amir mentioned or explained before, it's very vital. The vaccination is the game changer. The government is not lack of the vaccination supply. We do have the supply, and we already have secured over 400 million over 400 million doses. We have secured 400 million doses, and again, the government is not lack of vaccine supply. Indeed, the issue is on the distribution to inoculate the people according to the target set by the government, and that's why one of the plans is to do the inoculation in the day, in the afternoon, and even to the night. But again, it's also a matter of human resources, and it's not easy because in some points this the antrean, yeah, the queuing or on the vaccination also creates the what you call it, create the crowds, and it's also, if not managed well on the field, it will also create a new cluster in several points. But I think, yeah, that's the government is doing their best to do so. I think that's Felix. Sorry, Sally, if my answer did not satisfy your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andioka. It seems like the representative from Japan raised their hand. Tisha, you may activate your microphone and ask to Mr. Andioka directly.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moderator. And first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Andioga for the very enlightening presentation. We are very thankful that you are here to give us really functional information regarding the economic recovery post-COVID-19. But I would like to ask, in regards to the Economic Recovery Policy Framework 2021, which was mentioned previously before in one of the slides in the presentation, how will the government handle the rising unemployment rate during the Movement Restrictions Program, or PPKM, especially in Java and Bali, in the next few weeks until the end of this month? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tisha, for the question and your generous words about my present and Pamir presentation. As Bu Menteri explained in the press conference as well, I think in the early of this month, that in response to the PPKM Darurat, this emergency restriction, the government is again refocusing or reallocates the money within the budget to deploy to the National Economic Recovery Program, and then that's why several clusters are experiencing are improving. They are having additional cash, especially for the health cluster and the social protection cluster. and I think the government will continue to monitor. Usually, we are help with some development partner as well to monitor the the economic condition and the number of uh, unemployment in the field, because the BPS, the Indonesian statistic, only release the unemployment numbers twice in the year, in the ongoing year, which is around March and September. So between those period, we have to get the numbers by deploying or by using survey, and these surveys are usually in collaboration with some development partners like World Bank or Prospera from Australia, or also UNDP or UNICEF that monitoring the children with the pandemic. And again, the data uh, extracted primarily from the field through the survey is very uh, plays very important and crucial part. So that's why within based on these figures and this portrait that we get from the field through the survey, I do believe the government can adjust their response and also accelerate the budget accordingly to minimize the impact inflicted by this pandemic, particularly the escalated of the COVID-19 daily cases lately. I think that's my answer, Tisha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andi Yoga.
You're most welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andi Yoga, for your answer. Okay, so we move to the next questions. And this is from Bagus. And he asked about if Indonesia is successful in implementing PSBB at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, is Indonesia currently able to recover in the economic sector? Are you ready to answer them?
Thank you, Bagus. If Indonesia is successful in implementing PSBB at the beginning, is Indonesia currently able to recover in the economic sector? It's what if question, but I think it's the answer is not straightforward. I mean, this COVID-19 thing is, I mean, bring very much uncertainty to the world in the global stage or in the domestic scale. Yes, Indonesia is a little bit late in employing large and strict restriction policy in the beginning, because the government in Indonesia and also around the world were still confused with the disease and how much this is going to be affecting the economy, and how much the contagiousness of the virus it's, and also the government at the beginning at the early of last year also came up with the wrong policy, which promoting the tourism sector, if you follow the development. And then the government revised that we didn't open the tourism spot because it's instead will escalate the virus. And then the government come with the PSBB, and then the rest of the history. Perhaps it helps perhaps it would help the pandemic handling, but again with the with the new variants of the virus, and also the vaccination that that in the end came to Indonesia. But I think it less to do with the PSBB in the early of last year. I think it's more to do with the vaccination that if come earlier and then uh, boosted to the number that we are have now, like 1 million. I think it's the economic recovery. I mean, again, the economic recovery really depends on the this pandemic handling, right? So if the pandemic handling is handled rightly, and I think it's more, it's yes, it's some. It has also a very high correlation with the restriction, but it also very correlated with the vaccination, the number of vaccination daily that deployed by the government. So again, it might help the PSBB, but again, um, this COVID-19 brings very high uncertainty, and if the government let its guard down too early, I think even though we impose PSBB rightly in the early stage, but the government is not consistent enough to impose the restriction and to push the vaccination program early. I think it's also doesn't quite help the economic recovery. And I think even though there's still much room for improvement, I think the government is doing their best to handle the pandemic and to maintain and improve the economic recovery. I think that's the answer for you, Bagus and Felis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. And Yoga. Bet the audience really satisfied with your answer. And maybe this is the last one. And this one from Mona. She asked, as the speaker and the exposure also said that vaccination is a priority policy in Indonesia to control pandemic, as we know that there are still many people who do not believe in vaccination or are still afraid to be vaccinated. What steps our government do to overcome this? Then how can this vaccine be accepted by all circles of society with the right target, especially with lower class people who may not only get the information about vaccines but understand what the function and purpose of the vaccines are? They also do not know. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very good question, Mona. Yeah, Mona, and I think I don't have to go I don't have to go very far to make a sample of this very tricky situation. Like actually, I'm a bit embarrassed to share it, but to share this, but let me share this. Like for example, my mom, she is a lecturer on the Poltekkes, yeah, Politeknik Kesehatan, which is an extension of the Nakes. But instead, after getting sick, after the inoculation of the first dose, she happens to be afraid now to get the second dose. And I think it's quite ironic because she is a lecturer, which is a very educated person, and also teaching in campus under Minister of Health, but at the same time still very afraid of receiving the vaccination because their personal experience. And I think this experience or this kind of scare can be extended to many of us, and that's why the communication of this vaccination program done by all the stakeholders are very important, from the Minister of Health, from the TNI Polri, from the Jubir of the Satgas COVID, Ibu Nadia, yeah, from the Ministry of Finance, and we have many credible community, like in the social media platform, in the Instagram, like perhaps the Pandemic Talk. Yeah, I think some of you guys already following this that account, and it really educates and the society very well, and it also provide some check and balance to the government and input to the government. And we already invited one of the founder of the pandemic talk to BKF, actually of the launching of the COVID-19 book at the BKF. And I think that's, and we cannot just give this job mainly to government and the affiliation, the stakeholders. I think it's the job for every of us to educate our circle, to educate the society. It seems to be a small job to do, to maybe post in our IG story or our IG feed and other our social media platform, but it matters because it gives a new wave of education and optimism and the right information provided by us, educated people, especially this time that also happens to be providing many of bright and smart students. I think in the end of the day, this is the job of each of us to provide the right information and approach and persuasion to our circle. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm telling you, because I myself having, like what I explained, I'm sorry, I'm having difficulties in approaching my 62 years old mom, and it's okay. I keep persuading, but it's job for every of us, because at the same time the government also cannot force to inoculate a person. Basically, this is a voluntary basis. The government can incentivize or disincentivize this vaccine to reach the optimum result, like perhaps like in the US cases, perhaps it cannot be applied here because it's quite a different situation. Like in the US, the CDC, the Center of Disease, uh, ya pusat infections itunya lah ya, the CDC bravely came up with the incentive of, if the people get their second dose of vaccination, they are allowed to wear no mask in the public space, and it really boosts the vaccination there in the US. And you can see like the NBA matches or other sport matches and other things in the US, or public events on the US now are allowed to have people with no mask, with people that already reached their second dose of vaccination, and it helps accelerating the vaccination on top of the resources, both on the human resources and other resources that US can employ, yeah, to the society, because US also are one of vaccine manufacturer. Like Pak Amir said, we are not yet the vaccine manufacturer, but we are not having issues with the supply. But again, I think back to the question again, it's the job for each of us and the government. I do believe we are conducting close coordination across the ministries. I myself do attend several of the meetings across the ministries, including the coordinating minister of economy, coordinating minister of maritime and infestation in Pak Luhut ministry, and also Ministry of Health under the command of Pak BGS, ya, Budi Gunadi Sadikin. And we are fortunate to have him as new Minister of Health, replacing Pak who is it again, Pak Terawan, because he worked very hard, he worked very fast to push the vaccination program. It's still not perfect, but the government is continuing to do their work. I think that's the answer. Again,
Okay.
I do apologize if I cannot provide a satisfying answers for most of the question, everyone. Yeah, back to you, Felice.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Andy Yoga. I agree that it is a shared responsibility not only for the government. Thank you for the answer. I'm sure that participants are very satisfied with the answers and still want to ask a lot of questions, but sadly, the agenda must continue. So, ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of this webinar. Before I close the webinar, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker has presented. Various policies are implemented to control the pandemic, such as triple T, testing, tracing, and treatment, stay-at-home orders, school closure, cancellation of public events or gathering, public transport closure, and international travel control. At least 180 countries as of early July 2021 have been vaccinated. However, the number of vaccination is uneven across the world, particularly between developed and emerging countries. Developing countries are facing more challenges to respond to crises such as limited fiscal space and financial resources, unskilled labor, which leads to large informal labor markets, varied demographic profile with high poverty and unemployment rate, as well as income gap, poor public infrastructure, including precarious health systems, and last, low technology adoption cause low production capacity and commodity-based economy. Fiscal stimulus become very important for COVID-19 handling as well as helping people and business. There are many types of stimulus such as health program, social protection, tax facilities, company support, etc. Intervention from the government is needed to address market failure, ensure economic equity and equality, also maintaining economic stability. Indonesia is experiencing the second wave of COVID-19 cases, largely due to the highly transmissible Delta variant. So the policy of social restrictions in Indonesia evolves over time, adjusting to the intensity of COVID-19 daily cases. Emergency restriction policy is imposed in Java and Bali Island, 0% for critical sector, 50% for essential sector, 100% for non-essential sectors, and 30% for transportation. Vaccination is a priority policy in Indonesia to control this pandemic. Indonesia is targeting to vaccinate 180.5 million people by the end of this year to achieve herd immunity. Mr. Andi Yoga also explained Economic Recovery Policy Framework 2021. First is health intervention, second is survival and recovery kit, and the third is through structural reform. And the PAN program as the key instruments for COVID-19 handling, and in the medium term, fiscal consolidation is critical to maintain fiscal sustainability. Fiscal consolidation must be complemented with holistic fiscal reforms on revenue, on expenditure, and innovative and sustainable financing. Last, COVID-19 has taught a precious lessons and become a wake-up call for government. It is necessary to create an agile system to address challenges in the future. Are there any additional conclusion, Mr. Andi Yoga?
I think these are all great points. Thank you, Madam Moderator, Felice.
Okay, I would like to thank the speaker, both Mr. Andi Yoga and Mr. Amir, for the informative and interesting presentation, and all the participants for the very active participations. Hopefully, the information that we have shared today would be useful for all of us. Also, to all participants here, thank you for taking time out of the day to attend this webinar. We know all of you had your own working schedule, but surprisingly, there are more than 400 participants here joining this session in the middle of hustle and bustle. I'd like to apologize if there are many mistakes from me as a moderator during this session. And now it is my pleasure to yield the floor to the MC. Aga and Alma, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Felice. I'll be back for the audience. Thank you, Mr. Ridat Amir, PhD, and also Mr. Andi Yoga for the explanation about our topic, the effectiveness of the National Economic Recovery recovery program compared to other countries. It was such an amazing presentation and wonderful knowledge that we got. Hopefully, we can learn and that will be useful for ourselves and also the people around us. Okay, after this, there will be an entertainment session part 2 because we have watched the first performance before in the webinar. But before that, we will have a group photo session that will be carried by Elma.
Okay, all right. This time I'll guide you to a group photo session for participants who have not turned on the camera can turn on the camera first. And after everyone is ready, I'll start a group photo session. We'll wait, yeah, for the participants who have not turned on their camera. You can turn on the camera first so we can start the group photo session. Okay. It looks like the participants are ready for the committee. Are you ready to take photos? Okay, it looks like ready, yeah? Okay, I'll count in 3, 2, 1. Hold on. Okay, one more time. 3, 2, 1. Hold on. Okay. Thank you, everyone. After this, we'll watch together the performance from one of students of PK Instan, Dian Anggreni Galingging, who will perform the songs Heal the World.
Place could be much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you will feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place. Heal the world. It a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Yeah. If you want know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel fear or dread. We stop existing and start living. Then it feels that always love's enough for us growing. Make a better world. Better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. And the dream we would conceive in the only feel a joyful face. And the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. Then why do we keep
Wow. Please give round of applause for Dian Anggenika Lingging. She just had an incredible performance performing song Heal the World. Okay, the performance has brought to the end of the webinar. We'd like to express our gratitude to all those who came and actively engaged in the webinar tonight. After this, please do not leave the meeting yet because we will have the most awaited moment, STAN-MUN 2021 awarding session.
All right. Good evening, chairs and delegates. Finally, after participating in the activities since yesterday, after arguing, debating, and negotiating, we finally found a resolution of the topic. And this is the moment we have been waiting for, the awarding session. For the awarding session, we will hand it over to the chairs.
Thank you, the MC, for the introduction. The chairs are pleased that we have completed the 2 days event of our committee session and that we have produced a sound draft resolution in the end. And tonight we are pleased to announce the best performing delegates during the committee session. First, we have the best position paper. The chairs nominated the delegates' position paper to be the best position paper because of the relevance of the topic highlighted in his position paper towards the issue that we are trying to solve regarding faction issues as well as social protection. Other than that, this delegate follows up those issues with a very sound alternative solution such as financial transparency, utilizing technology in the health information sector, as well as saving vulnerable groups through direct transfer and women empowerment for business in Africa. Besides that, this delegate has also been active in voicing sustainability in the economy to reach the Sustainable Development Goals in 2030. Without further ado, the Best Position Paper award is awarded to the delegate of Nigeria. Congratulations, delegate of Nigeria. Next, we have the Most Outstanding Delegate Award. The chairs have nominated this delegate with the Most Outstanding Delegate Award for this delegate's effort to lead the debate and discussion throughout the conference. Other than that, the alternative solutions proposed by this delegate has been satisfactory to the chairs in that in addressing not only to critical issues but also leading the conference, and that is what we'd like to see. Without further ado, the Most Outstanding Delegate award is given to the delegate of China. Congratulations, delegate of China. Next on the list, we have honorable mention. The chairs have nominated this delegate with an honorable mention award for this delegate's consistency and sound performance throughout the conference. This delegate has consistently presented new ideas that would not only address the issues in the delegate's country, but also those that would bring benefits if applied to other countries as well. Listening to this delegate's speech has shown the chairs that this delegate has come prepared and know the topic very well. With that said, the honorable mention award is given to the delegate of Japan. Congratulations, delegate of Japan. And of course, lastly, we would like to present the Best Delegate Award. The chairs have nominated this delegate with the Best Delegate Award for the efficient and informative debate that this delegate has provided to the committee. This delegate has also led a lot of the debate as well as ideas discussed in the council. But actually, what has impressed us the most is that the improvement that we see in this delegate, for that he combined his strength in debating and with a better research and information on the second day to resolve the issues. With that said, the Best Delegate Award is presented to the delegate of Russia. Congratulations, delegate of Russia.
Okay, thank you, Sonia, for reading the award now. Okay, so we know that this past 2 days was a very exhausting day for the delegates because they deliver a great speech, great debate, and I would like to congratulate all the delegates for finishing it beautifully. Okay, despite this is a forum that talking about the international affairs, we also don't forget to have a little bit of fun occasionally. And tonight, I would like also to read the superlative awards. It's a special awards from delegates to other delegates. Okay, first thing first, the first superlative award, the most consistent delegate, goes to the delegate of Japan. Okay, the delegate of Japan, would you like to say a few words? Maybe what do you think about this? Like, literally, this is what the others thinking about. You're the most consistent delegate during the conference. What do you think about it?
Thank you, Ms. Vidya. Thank you to the chairs and all the fellow delegates. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to be nominated as this particular nomination, but I would also congratulate other delegate because they are the ones that provoke me to be more proactive and active in every debate because it is a very fun and rare experience to be able to communicate with such about really important matters that are happening to us right now. So thank you to the chairs, committee, and other delegates.
Okay, thank you, delegate of Japan. Okay, next we move the next superlative award. This is the most talkative award. So the delegates, all the delegates in the forum has decided that the delegate of China is the most talkative one. Okay, so I would like to invite delegate of China to talk a little bit about it. What is your secret? Is it you always full of energy or something?
Thank you, Chair, and other distinguished delegates with this superlative awards being the most talkative. I suppose myself chose Russia to be on that part, but it seems that others believe that it is me. As for my secrets on that, well, as with any conferences that I attend on Moon, I drank a lot of coffee because I simply get too tired during conferences, and too much coffee led to me a increase to be more quite hyperactive really. And I usually talk a lot with English, and with the added coffee, it becomes even more. So I guess that's it. And thank you, everyone. It was really fun talking with everyone.
Okay, we move to the next superlative awards. Okay, it's the cutest delegate. And the result is, I think I know who chose him or her in this. Okay, I would like to call the delegate of Turkey as the cutest delegate for in these past 2 days. Okay, delegate of Turkey, do you have any secrets like boys infatuated with you, like really smitten with you, and they choose you to be the cutest delegate in this forum?
Honestly, I don't know how I could be chosen. It's just that I really would like to use the opportunity to thank everyone. I was really, if I were to say, starstruck if I were, when I was in this meeting to see everyone being so brilliant, and it was so fascinating, and I really can't stop smiling even just listening to all of them. It's already reward enough for me. I don't know. I think this must be a prank from one of them. So I don't know. Thank you for all of the opportunity, the experience, and for everything to the chairs and the other delegates.
Okay, thank you, delegate of Turkey. Next, this is a well-dressed award. So all the delegates has decided to give delegate of Egypt as the well-dressed delegate, and surprisingly, one of our chair, Sonny. Okay, guys, do you have a secret or maybe to stay why how to stay fabulous 24/7 all the time? Maybe delegate of Egypt can start, and then after that, our chair, Sonny.
Thank you for this award. I don't expect to get the best well-dressed words. And thank you for the opportunity that chair and other delegates give to me. This is my very first time to join Model United Nations. And also, thank you for the tips and information that you already gave us. That's all.
Okay, Sunny, do you have anything to say? Like it's not fair that you, among four of us, that you're the one that been chosen as well-dressed chair.
Nah, I think most of the delegate also dress nicely, but overall I'm just dressing what I'm comfortable in, and that's just it. I don't have any particular thing planned for my dress. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegate of Egypt. Okay, next we move to the next award. All the delegates in the forum agrees that the most likely to request a loan are Nigeria and Russia. Okay, I would like to invite delegate of Nigeria and Russia to give a little speech. Why do you guys think you will request loan to other countries? And what are you gonna do with the loan?
So thank you for the award. Maybe because all of the delegates think the Africa is probably the least developed one, and so that they all thinking that the nation of the Africa would like to ask the loan. But as the for Africa and also for the Nigeria, as I have been researched, which is this is quite amazing experience for me, because at first I am also mostly thinking like that thinking that Nigeria is that quiet poor, but unfortunately Nigeria is one of the biggest country in the Africa, and actually Nigeria is also quite a one example country in Africa that can show that they can manage the fund very well and have a commitment to do the better for the country. So, but yeah, but again, for the loan, probably we will make it for the best. Thank you.
Okay, Russia, what are you gonna do with the loan? Are you gonna pay all your loans to Buning?
I think this is a prank to me. I wasn't expecting to get any award at first. Even Russia is the G8 countries. It's impossible that we could request a loan to another countries. We are the one who actually give the loan. So I was confused with this award actually. But I will say thank you very much to the chair, to the fellow delegates and committee that already hold this event. This is a very good event, and this is only my second model United Nations, and hopefully we can learn a lot from this conference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegate of Nigeria and Russia. Okay, next is probably the most likely delegate that will make an album, because all the delegates in the forum agree that this delegate is the rapper. Okay, I would like to call again delegate of Russia, because it seems like your peers agree that you're the rapper one in the forum during the conference.
Yeah, at first I didn't mean to be a rapper, right? Because in this MUN conference there is a maximum limit to speak only in 2 minutes, and you need a lot of facts and research that you need to speak to another delegates and in a conference. So I think I need to speak fast in order all of my point is well delivered to all of you. So I'm sorry if there is a delegate that cannot understand myself maybe, but I think that's important if I can blow all of the points. I think
Are
that's
you gonna do a change in career, maybe making an album? Because you have
no,
the ability to talk fast.
I'm not good at singing or even music at all. So yeah, we stuck to this MUN.
Okay. Thank you, Russia. And next, the chillest delegate in the room, the delegate that maybe most of the other people think that he or she didn't have any kind of problem, or yeah, I'm just chilling here, bro, like that. Okay, I would like to call delegate Nigeria again because all of your friends agree that you're the chillest one. So how you make yourself calm during the conference? Maybe because maybe the others think that they seems anxious or something, but then they see you like, oh, how can this dude be so chill during the conference?
The thing that I always remind when joining any competition or any practices, things like that, just enjoying the moment. So yeah, that's what makes me to keep chill in every moment, include in this model United Nations. So just enjoy the moment.
Oh, okay, that's the key. Enjoy the moment. Okay, thank you, delegate of Nigeria. Okay, this will be the last superlative awards. All of the delegates agreed that delegate of Italy is the funniest one in the forum. I would like to invite delegate of Italy to speak on this matter because I
First,
haven't, we chairs haven't heard any of your jokes during the forum. Are you doing it on the breakout room during the unmoderated caucus?
yeah, I do it on the unmod, especially with PRC delegate. Yeah. Uh, I would like to thank you for all the chairs, the committee, and the delegates, and especially the committee for giving me the, uh, a chance to join the conference, to be able to join the moon. It's really really nice experience, and I hope I learn a lot from this one. And I think I'm gonna join the next opportunity of the MUN. Thank you for all the delegates, especially PRC Nigeria and Russia and Japan, that really drive our conversation and into the constructive discussion, so that our discussion can make the uh, I think it's good resolution. Thank you. That's all. Back to the chair.
Okay, thank you, delegate of Italy, for the words. Okay, as we already ending the awarding night, I would like to give the floor to Kavla Vita to give maybe a little bit of information about MUN and whether in the future there will be another stand MUN. Okay, Kavla Vita, the time and place is yours.
Thank you, Vidya. So before I deliver my 2 cents, I would like to comment a little bit. So actually, chairs and comedy, I think we miss a lot of fun here since they're just having fun in the breakout room. So yeah, it wasn't fair for us. But
I know, right?
I believe that we have talked to some delegates that received the superlative awards. It should be fair if we also have some talk with the delegates who won the awards, like the serious award, the real awards. Okay. I would like to invite the delegate who got the best position paper award. Delegate of Nigeria, please. Would you
Alright.
like to say something about how do you draft your position paper and how many nights do you have a research and so on so you can win this position paper award?
Okay, thank you. To be honest, that I'm confused. I use I or the delegate of Nigeria? so, so personally, to be honest, I am making the position paper is only in one night. Actually, in if I'm not mistaken, is during from the Tuesday to the Wednesday. But before I'm making the paper, previously I already tried to some research, especially watching the YouTube because this is aside reading the news article or news reading the report, there are certain news that coming up in the YouTube when you just put the search the keyword on recovery during the COVID-19 and just knowing the general condition. And of course, also the study guide is really helpful one for me to begin the research. So after that, I'm trying to finding the key, the main issue, the and also trying to because I got the African, so more focused on what happened in Africa and try to portray that this is the position that me as the delegate of Nigeria would like to present and need to be put in the best position paper. So in the conclusion, yeah, make it in one night, but previously just do a casual research to make you have a better knowledge on how you would like to direct on your paper. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow, it was so generous of you to spill your secrets to other delegates and of course to other participants here who might join other MUN. So anyway, thank you so much, Delegate of Nigeria.
Thank you.
And the next is the most outstanding delegate. Wait, sorry, we have honorable mention, right? So please, Delegate of Japan.
Thank you, Kak Flavita. I would ask permission to speak sort of informally because we are already through with the whole MUN program. And to be honest, this was my first time being in a conference MUN like this. I've never been to one before. So at first it was very challenging, and I was trying to keep up with other outstanding delegates because they are so fluent, and they are also well prepared about the information regarding their country's best interest and also the topic. But it was really tiring, if I'm being honest, but lots of fun too, because when like Kak Flavita said, we had some fun in the breakout rooms, but uh, we we were uh, we were talking quite freely, and we could also communicate with each other as friends and informally. So it was very nice to have those little moments of informality. And other than that, to be honest, I was also I had a class in Saturday morning, but I had two times Zoom. So I was using two devices while I was trying to keep up with class, and also because I couldn't get the surat tugas from the committee, and it was uh, it was kind of expected not to get the surat tugas. So it was very hard to keep up with both at the same time. But still, I chose MUN over class because this is a sort of a rare experience for me. So thank you everyone for the opportunity, and I'm very grateful to be able to get to know all of you in the past 2 days. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was such a hard work for you, Isha, and I'm also glad that your hard work paid off. Okay, thank you, Delegate of Japan. Next, I would like to invite the ones that won the most outstanding delegate, Delegate of China.
Thank you, Chair, for the time. This is my second most outstanding, perhaps, and that's perhaps the only awards that I achieved during my time in MUN, and that is most outstanding. And to be frank, my preparation for this MUN is very minimal, as in not even submitting the position paper on time, asking the committee to extend the submission for position paper until tomorrow morning, but ended up submitting it in the afternoon, which, well, And the position paper is, to be frank, it is not good either, which is to be expected. It is very to be expected. This is combined with due to the problem that I have with my classes. I mean, not a problem, it's what I have to do, namely akuntansi biaya with Pak D, as you all know, and which is quite scary to be frank. And as for my pro tip will be to other delegates or anyone else that is currently in this Zoom meeting for attending Model United Nations. Don't choose People's Republic of China. Finding the government documents is really hard because they are usually under Chinese website, or if they are available to the public, they are in Mandarin. So good luck learning Mandarin for 1 week if you can. And I suppose that is all really. The conference was very light, very delightful, and very happy in a sense in how it is, and not really something like in a security council where it's very heated. Thank you, sir. I think that's all.
Thank you, Delegate of China. Okay, next I would like to invite our first place winner of the STANMUN. It's the best delegate of STANMUN 2021, Delegate of Russia.
Okay, thank you for the time, Mrs. Chair. Good evening, everyone. I wasn't expecting any award at first, even the best delegate. And I would like to say, have a say to the honorable chair why I never get my preference country, even in the last two Model United Nations stand. But still, thank you so much to the chair that already chose me to get this award. My first aim is actually for fun, and I'm not actually seeking for any award. I just seek for fun and friends, and I just want to spend my boring rutinity doing PPKM. And I didn't do a lot of research actually because this week is very hectic. There is a lot of assignment from lecture, and the way my research is in line with the Mas Hendro. I opened so many tabs until my Google Chrome become error, and it's very close to deadline for me to upload the position paper. I uploaded 2 minutes before the deadline. Even in Saturday night, the chair requests me to do more research, but I sleep instead and play games because it's been a tiring day for us to do this conference and Model United Nations. But still, my biggest appreciation I adhere to my fellow delegates, other delegates. Thank you so much that already support me and help each other during the discussions, during the finishing the draft resolutions. I believe that all of delegates here deserve the higher praise. Whatever the award that they get, I think they are the best one. And right now, I never disappoint to miss this opportunity in the future. Hopefully, STANMUN will become better and better every year. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Delegate of Russia. And I believe that we have them all saying their comments about the STANMUN these past 2 days. We also like to say thank you to all the delegates that have actively participated in STANMUN. So, chairs, Widya and Sonny, do you have something else to say?
Yeah, from my side, I was really glad at the development that delegates shown on the second day. And so, of course, for me, this is also my first experience to cheering. So, and also, yeah, I'm very glad of the delegate at the most. And to all delegates, please do not stop learning. And there's a reason we place you also for those who receive the reward. And in the future, we would like to see you make great things. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonny. And Widya, do you have any other words to say?
No, actually, what I want to say already got covered by Sonny. we're thinking alike, so yeah, I will give the floor back to you, Kapla.
Okay, that's cool. So, I believe that we already addressed everything to the delegate. So, but probably many of the participants here are not quite well informed yet about STAN-MUN in general. So, I would like to give some information about STAN-MUN. It is actually one of the program of SciPass or STAN Youth and Public Affairs Studies. It is one of the UKM in this campus if you guys haven't know it. So actually, this is the second STAN MUN, and the first one was back then in 2019. And of course, this STAN MUN, the STAN MUN this year um, is held successfully because of the amazing collaboration with the committee of this Natalis. And then the next, we believe that we will have the third STAN MUN. So you guys might want to follow us for the updates. You can follow us in Instagram at SciPass PKN STAN, SYPAS PKN STAN, because we would like to see you there in the upcoming year. So, and also, other than STAN MUN itself, if you guys also would like to join and be a part of SciPass BK at STAN, we will also open a recruitment very soon. Okay, so that's the information about STAN MUN and SciPass. And finally, I would like also to say thank you first to my fellow chairs, Widya, Sony, and Muhammad Fandi, that who is unfortunately is not able to make it tonight. I would like to thank all of you for your commitment, hard work, and also your time to make it in this conference. Just like the delegates, we have our own hectic schedule, but we try to make it to this conference to make it happen. So I personally think that we have done very good teamwork. Like, don't you agree, committee and delegates? I believe you guys agree with me. And next, I would like to say thank you to the committee for inviting us to be a part of STAN-MUN 2021. It was such an honor to have been given the opportunity to conduct this fruitful and exciting discussion these past 2 days with the fellow delegates, which are the students of PKN STAN. And as Sonny said a couple days ago, this make us miss the college year. Thank you for making us miss the college years. And then I believe that was all of my 2 cents tonight. So see you guys on the next STAN MUN maybe. Okay, good evening. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Chair, for the awarding session. I'll be back to the audience. Congratulations to all awardees and delegates. You all gave your best at STAN-MUN 2021. We learned a lot here, and we also had an amazing experience at this Modernity Nation conference. After this, before we close the event tonight, there will be closing remarks from Secretary General. Welcome, Ms. Anastasia Utami.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself first. I am Anastasia Utami as the Secretary General of STANMUN 2022. So it is an honor to address this closing session of STANMUN 2021 as a part of the academic competition on the 6th Natalis event of PKN STAN. I thank the chairs of PKN STAN Model United Nation, Mr. Fandi, Mrs. Flavita, Mr. Sonny, and Ms. Widya for their incredible help to make the competition happen this year, even though the conference was held online, and also for the chairs to spare their time to manage STANMUN while still doing their work. I would also like to express my deep appreciation to Mr. Muhammad Rafi Bakri who was the person in charge of all the competition boards that let this conference happen again after the vacuum and for his wise there. I also echo all the participants of STANMUN 2021 for doing their delegates' role in achieving for a more inclusive understanding of economic and social studies and in advancing policy dialogue on this two-day session with economic recovery post-COVID-19 as the topic. I would also like to express my deep gratitude for amazing STANMUN committee's team of committee professionals. Thank you, Icha, Sekar, and also Aga. And last but not least, I would like to say congratulations to all the delegates for doing your very, very best performance in every session in STANMUN 2021. I hope we'll see each other again on the next STANMUN. So that's all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ms. Anastasia Utami, for the closing remarks. All right, the closing remarks from Secretary General also closed the STANMUN 2021 conference. We would like to thank the chairs, delegates, committees, and all those involved in the success of STANMUN 2021. Also, we would like to once again congratulate the awardees and all delegates who have given their best for STANMUN 2021.
Before we close the conference, let us pray in accordance with our individual religions and beliefs. Prayer begins. Prayer is enough. Finally, STANMUN 2021 has come to conclusion, and we want to express our gratitude to everyone who has contributed to STANMUN 2021. Don't forget to fill the presence link, all the participants, with the keyword that will be given after this, and present link will be closed at 10 p.m. tonight. Thank you, everyone. We as Master of Ceremony close this event. Thank you on another occasion, and good night. like to inform to all webinar participants to be able to leave the Zoom meeting, and delegates of STANMUN can stay here at the meeting.